Hey folks, let's talk about winterizing your tractor, whether it's long-term winter storage or just now that maybe you have time. Well, it's 1 week before Christmas when I'm making this. So when you're done with the fat guy in the red suit, maybe you'll have a little time to take care of your tractor certainly more so than you will in the springtime. So when you catch some time, I'd like you to go over your tractor similar to what I'm about to talk to you about. I made a list, and some of it is knowledge that I've gained, but most of it is, the dreaded owner's manual. The owner's manual has everything you'd ever want to know about winterizing, daily maintenance, long-term storage, anything. It's all in here. And it's important that you use your owner's manual. And I know it's pretty big. This one is for a CK series, and also has one for the loader. But as much information is in here, it's not nearly as intimidating. I brought this for comparison to this. I bought a Toyota Land Cruiser, and the owner's manual itself has 712 pages, and then it has supplemental owner's manuals. So Kioti really isn't asking too much for you to become familiar with their owner's manual. What I want to do, I've got a couple of tractors out in the showroom. I've got a CK 2620 and a DK of some sort, and we'll just use them as examples. And for most things, you'll get the idea. But let's go through things that I recommend that you check this winter, as soon as you can, really. If y'all are watching this video and it's not Christmas time, it might seem a little odd, but here it's Christmas time. It's December, what is the date? December 18th. So hence the, these are a couple of the Pick 5 programs we've got going right now. The first thing is to wash the tractor, wash it well. There's probably every chance that you didn't wash it as good as you could have throughout the year. Well, now's the time to do it. UV and acid rain that falls on the tractor will, degrade the paint. So it's a good time to wash it thoroughly, wax it, and touch up, get some Kioti touch-up paint. The couple of colors, there's gray for the, grayish black for the chassis. There's actually gray for the bucket and orange, of course, for the tractor itself. So get yourself some touch-up paint and just go around and touch it up. These things will last for, well, man, not just decades, generations. Tractors last a long time. Everybody knows somebody that still uses their old Ford 9N, a 75, 80-year-old tractor. Maintenance. Now, they may be easier to maintain because they're less complicated, but still, it's maintenance that did that. Keep it under cover. If after you wash it and touch it up and wax it, if you don't have a barn or a shed or anything, garage, at least put it under tarp, and tarp it after it's very dry. Don't tarp it wet. Let the air move around, and then tarp it. The owner's manual says for long-term winter storage to remove the battery. I think that's a little excessive, but if you want to, that's great. I would at least, I'd probably put it on a trickle charger, especially if the battery's a few years old. If you got a trickle charger, that would be ideal. Torque the nuts and bolts and chalk them. This is important, so heads up on this. When we service a tractor, I'll move in. These white chalk marks are there for a reason. When we torqued these, we know that just walking by and looking at the tractor, for one thing, that we've done it. The other thing is, if this is like this one is from 9 to 3 o'clock, call it, and the chalk mark is at 3 o'clock. So straight across like that, this bolt has not moved. The same goes for the nuts. And if you are a stickler for detail, if you look at the owner's manual, The lug nuts and the lug bolts have different torque ratings. Now, most people just take a impact wrench and go, and done, and I do the same thing. But make sure that they are marked. And speaking of chalking, there's other parts that if not just as important, perhaps even more important, we also do the loader mounts, because the loaders are under incredible stress. They vibrate, and it's, they do all the work, and they do get loose. So we also torque and mark those, and I think that's very important. This is the time to do this. You should do it, but you probably haven't, and that is to adjust the free play in the clutch and the brakes. They are designed to have free play, and I'd like to bring the camera in one more time, so bear with me on this. Look at the clutch linkage right there, and look at the clutch pedal. With one finger, I'm moving it, so just that little bit of movement, activates at least a portion of the clutch. And if it's if it's too loose, too tight, it's akin to riding the clutch. The correct free play, if you want to look at this one, is that. It's about 1.5 inches or so. That is the right amount. The brakes are kind of interesting. I'm going to move the camera yet again, so bear with me. Your tractor has either one brake pedal or two brake pedals that are split with a little joiner that tightens them together. But in both cases, you have two adjustments because the tractor has two brakes. One of them is right here. If you'll watch, let me see if I can reach that. Okay, and it's adjusted clearly. It's adjusted by loosening these jam nuts, adjusting the turnbuckle, and re-tightening the jam nuts. Similar to the clutch, it needs about that much movement. The other adjustment is on the other side of the tractor. I don't want to give you a headache with all this camera movement, but if you don't know where it is, you won't find it. The other one is a turnbuckle that looks just like it, but on the left side of the tractor. So both of those need to be adjusted. This one is the clutch. This one is the brake. And the clutch is also a turnbuckle right here. So that's where that is adjusted. They're not hard to get to, and they're not hard to do. But man, is that important. Before we stop talking about adjusting the brakes, I wanted to show you another tractor. This is a DK 4520, and it has two brakes. Well, they all have two brakes. It has two brake pedals, and its adjustments are not in the same location as the CK I just showed you. One is a turnbuckle right here. The other is a turnbuckle on the other side. That looks just like it. You might think that's the clutch adjustment. It is not. The clutch turnbuckle is down below. The next thing I wrote down, lubricate, 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 lubricate. The chassis, the loader, backhoe if you have it, is to be lubricated with a premium quality grease. Use the owner's manual to find out where all these little boogers are, because there's not a whole bunch of them, but they're spread out, and some of them are not readily recognized. I mean, there's one on the pivot right here, and probably, depending on the tractor, there's two of them on that. The top link is to be lubricated. With the loader, I would say there's a couple of dozen grease zerks. Now, while you're doing that, get a rag or some rubber gloves, put some grease in your hand or on the rag, and wipe down everything that is not painted. that's even, you know, this unpainted rod here, now it's what is that, cast iron, so it's not going anywhere, but it's already starting to discolor. But the rest of it is a high grade machined steel, and it'll rust, surface rust, but you know, unsightly. Get a rag and wipe down every single non-painted surface you can find, including open the loader all the way up and do the pistons. Anything you see like that, you know, wipe it all down with grease. In a few years, you'll be glad you did. Everything. What else do I got here? Okay, tires. Now this is only if you're going to store it, I'd say more than a month, if you're not going to use it for a month. If you have any kind of tractor and you leave it sit for about that long, when you first start to drive it, then it'll go ka-clump, ka-clump, ka-clump. Well, the tires they've acquired flat spots in them. They'll eventually run, you know, out of flat spots, and they'll start to run true. But it's annoying. And the way you can, two things you can do to help yourself on that. One, overinflate the tires to a certain degree. And that'll help a little bit, but the real thing, if you can, especially if it's going to be over a month or 3 months or whatever, is to suspend the tractor. You know, take the weight off. Use cinder blocks, wooden blocks, and jack stands is really the way to do it. And you know, take the weight off of the tire. Now's a good time, if it needs it, of course, to change the motor oil and the motor oil filter. I want to bring up two things on that. One is a great way to keep a record of your maintenance by just glancing at the tractor would be to get a paint pen and write the hours and the date on the oil filter. The oil filter is, as you know, it's visible. You can walk by and see it right there. And that's certainly what we do when we service somebody's tractors. We write it right on there. And the other thing is the tractor that you have probably has more than one oil drain plug on the sump, on the oil pan, because in most cases, like all of ours, the oil pan is cast in a way that it wallows out and allows the front drive shaft to go through the center of it. So these have two, and you want to make sure you remove both of those and drain the oil pan completely. Have you noticed that Kioti has this little swivel thing here? Your tractor has that. That is to, when you push the clutch down, you can actually, I don't know, I call it hanging the clutch. It engages or disengages, actually, technically speaking, the clutch from the pressure plate. That should be done when first off, when it's freezing cold outside, because the condensation in the transmission can cause the pressure plate and the clutch to freeze together, and you'll have to wait for the tractor to completely warm up before you can move it. Very annoying. And the other thing is it'll also accumulate via the condensation inside some surface rust. So by separating the clutch and the pressure plate like that will eliminate those two issues. Very important. Fill the fuel tank, and if you absolutely positively trust your fuel supplier that it has been winterized, so be it. But I would still put some Sta-Bil or some other quality brand of diesel fuel stabilizer in the fuel, not just to keep it from freezing, but to keep the dreaded diesel bug from attacking the fuel. And no kidding, there's a parasite that, I don't know, I'm sure it has a name, we call it diesel bug, and old fuel will get eaten by this diesel bug, ruin the fuel, ruin the injection system, and just bad overall. So treat the fuel. Oh, and when you put the treatment in, run the tractor for 10 or 15 minutes to make sure that it makes its way up to the injectors. For storage, and this goes for just everyday storage too, the tractor needs to be protected from vermin, squirrels, rats, mice, anything else that would like to find its way into the engine compartment. The wiring on any modern machine is, the insulation is made out of a soy-based product, right? What is more delicious than soy if you were a rat? Well, probably nothing. We occasionally, and I mean occasionally more than once a year, get a tractor that's been severely damaged by an infestation. They'll chew through the wrong thing, and when the ignition gets turned forward, a short, computer, fire, bad. It's a good idea if the tractor's been sitting there for a little while to open the hood and make sure you don't see a nest, but also treat it for vermin. I have this rat trap, which is just the cat's meow. Take a look at this. It has 3 plates as the mouse or the rat goes in there. He's going to hit one of them. 1, 2, 3, and it takes C batteries and it jolts them. It's an instant kill, and it's like 100%. I mean, it kills them. When you go to check the hydraulic fluid, you'll want to lower everything, the loader, the 3-point arms, lower everything to the ground, and then check the fluid, because that's it won't be accurate unless everything's on the ground. Just a short thing about that. Drain the water from the fuel water separator, and as long as you're there, check the fuel filter. It would be nice, to drain the water before the light comes on. That way in the springtime, again, you're ready to go. Nothing would be worse than getting out there and a half hour later, water separator light comes on. Just do it now. All of the hydraulic hoses will need attention. You'll need to run your fingers on them. Also a good thing to put some motor oil or some grease on that. Kioti does a good job of putting, these things on where they have hard bends. That helps, but still, they are made out of rubber, and eventually they'll start cracking and stuff. Address it now before the springtime so that you don't have to stop what you're doing to change one out. Of course, check the coolant. The radiator is at 50% ethylene glycol and water. Any, Kioti fluids are always recommended, but if you're not close to a Kioti dealer or whatever, any quality, and it's in the owner's manual of the specs that you need, and pretty much ends up being any quality, the green stuff, ethylene glycol. Okay, the second to the last thing I would like to point out, and this is something that I say so often they'll probably end up putting it on my tombstone. Keep the radiator fins clean. These are any engine, any modern engine, any old engine are susceptible to overheating if they don't have the proper amount of airflow. And they get dirty in a hurry, especially if you're mowing, going through, tall grass, stuff like that. It will absolutely get in there and stick quicker than you might think. So this varies with every tractor. Each one is a little different. This is a fairly basic tractor, CK2620 with a hydrostat transmission. So it has 2 cooling devices. One is, of course, is the engine radiator. The other one is behind this screen. You'll find a small oil cooler, kind of a radiator, that runs the hydraulic fluid through it to keep that cool. The screen comes right out. Take the screen out. Well, if the loader was up, it would come right out. Take the screen out and, of course, clean it. And behind it, you'll see that the fins have started to get crud, especially in humid areas. Think about if you're mowing and all this dust, or dirt for that matter, if you're doing dirt work, rock work, everything's dusty. Everything's flying all over the place. Not only is it getting into the fins of the coolant system, it's the humidity is now making it wet and then dry as soon as the tractor cools. So it will become mud when it dries back up, and it'll be mud inside the coolant fins. So what can you do about it? Well, of course, the first line of defense is the screen, and that'll catch a lot of grass. And so you could use your leaf blower just to get it mainly off there, or compressed air at a low volume to blow this off. But when you're done, at least every couple of times, I wouldn't go more than I don't know what the book says on this. I wouldn't go more than 10 hours without doing what I'm about to say. Now we need to get the dirt out of the fins, and that would be from the back to the front, not front to back. So everything gets cleaned from the back to the front. And you can use a low volume of compressed air, a garden hose. You can use a lot of things, and I'm not on their payroll, but I'll show you what you need to buy. You can buy it from us, you can buy it from Amazon, you can buy it wherever you want, but you need a Radiator Genie. The 2-pack Radiator Genie, one is for water. You put it on your garden hose. It has the perfect bend to reach behind the radiator and spray forward. And it also has one then for compressed air, which does exactly the same thing. It has a nice little bend in it, and it will blow from behind the radiators forward. I assure you there's no way you can reach behind that coolant, the oil cooler that is there for the hydraulic system without something like this. So spend a couple dollars and get one of those. I couldn't speak enough about those. It's also a fantastic time to inspect your air cleaner, something that we might neglect from time to time, and don't neglect it. Take a look at it. If it's dirty, and it will be, bang it on the curb, see what you can get out of it. You use some low volume compressed air from the inside out to prolong it a little bit longer, and eventually you'll have to replace it. It's a paper filter, but it'll go quite a while if you keep it clean. Here's an interesting thing. You know what that is? That funny looking thing that's right there, and it's made out of rubber. I'm sure it has a name. I'm not an engineer, but it's a burper, and tractors vibrate. So this air cleaner is vibrating, and the particles are all falling down. They mount the air cleaner at a slight incline. The dirt finds its way to here, and then finds its way out. And you can walk by and you can do this, and you'll see a lot of the dirt come out, and that's kind of cool. Somebody was thinking on that one. I'm hitting the highlights here, and certainly your tractor will have some stuff that I didn't talk about, or these have some stuff that your tractor does not. So again, it's in the owner's manual, but if you have a cab tractor, it could be a Kioti or a lesser brand, it doesn't matter what it is. If you have a cab tractor, you have to run the air conditioner at least once a month. What they used to call Freon, the coolant gas, is also the only lubricant in that system. So it needs to cycle. You don't want the springtime to come up and find out that an O-ring had dried out and it's spraying coolant all over the place or whatever, and it does happen. So run the air conditioner once a month for 10 or 15 minutes. That's about what I know. Refer to your owner's manual, because I'm sure I missed a whole bunch of stuff. But if you take care of your tractor, it'll last a long time. And if you do it now, you won't be aggravated in the spring. Imagine how embarrassing it is when you're out, first time in the spring, you want to do some cutting, and you see your neighbor on that godforsaken Kubota he's had, and he needs to get rid of, and yours has a problem. You need to spend a minute draining the water from the fuel, or who knows what. But take care of it now. Change the oil, do the coolant, change the hydraulic system if it's needed, and it'll be ready to go. That's a happy feeling. First day of spring, you stick the key in your clean tractor, and it starts up, and it's time to do some work. Now, I said that the under here was the second to the last thing. The last thing is rinse and repeat everything I just said on every implement that you have. If your implement has a drive shaft, or if it's mounted to the front like a grapple, it has grease fittings, it has bare naked steel, it has, the drive shaft has clutches, they have owner's manuals. There's enough going on that they have their own owner's manuals, and you have to do all that too, but get your implements ready to go too. Thanks for watching. I hope somebody got something out of this, and like and subscribe if you would. I'd consider a personal favor, and I will keep trying to do these kind of videos. Thank you.